Good evening, I'm Destiny Patterson. Thanks for watching our weekend edition of KSLA News 12. Now tonight, Bossier police arrested another teenager in connection to the shooting that sent a 7-year-old to the hospital. Bossier police arrested two teens, ages 14 and 15, as well as a 19-year-old named Camoria Taylor. The shooting happened yesterday at the North Park Apartments in the 2500 block of Montgomery Street. Police say several people were sitting on the steps near the front of an apartment building, and that's when the two teens allegedly started shooting in the area. Taylor and the other two teens are charged with attempted first-degree murder, among other charges. And a girl is dead in Sabine Parish following an ATV crash Saturday. According to the Sabine Parish Sheriff's Office, Sailor Gotti lost control of her ATV while driving westbound on Bush Road. Gotti and the three young passengers were ejected from that vehicle. Gotti died at the scene, and one of those passengers was taken to a hospital for minor injuries. That crash is still under investigation.
Well, good evening, everyone. We're heading into your work week, and unfortunately things are going to start to heat up and get a little bit more humid over the next couple of days. Here's just a snapshot of tomorrow's feels-like temperatures. Usually we don't even use this graphic for this time of year, but it is going to be unseasonably warm, possibly feeling like the triple digits or near that in northwest Louisiana, parts of East Texas, and in the I-30 corridor. So very warm days ahead. Our upper level patterns just really putting us right in the thick of the warmest and more uncomfortable weather. Current temperatures right now still fairly warm. We're at 82 right now in Texarkana and in Shreveport, 77 right now in DeQueen. Idabel sitting at 79 in Longview. 78 right now in Mount Pleasant. Temperatures a little bit further to the south in Natchitoches sitting at 79 degrees. As we head into the overnight hours, temperatures are going to fall to the low 70s area-wide across the Arklatex. Some areas such as Homer, back towards Ruston and up towards Hope, Arkansas, getting into the upper 60s. Overall, I think tomorrow's going to look a lot like this morning did, with cloud cover and temperatures in the 70s. The next couple of days, temperatures stay well above average in the mid to upper 90s, and usually this time we're in the low 80s. So very unseasonably warm weather headed for us in the Arklatex for the work week. I'll track that out and more coming up in your full forecast.
Shreveport police are still looking for this woman. This is 22-year-old Savannah Hale. Hale's family last heard from her on Wednesday, and she was last seen wearing black leggings, a black hoodie, and black tennis shoes. She's about 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighs about 160 pounds. Hale is also known to drive a 2012 Kia Forte. So if you have any information on where she may be, you're asked to call that number that you see there on your screen. The New Orleans Police Department is working to identify more suspects in Friday's mass shooting. Officers have already arrested one man in connection to that shooting. NOPD believes 36-year-old Alex Madison was one of the gunmen who opened fire in a parking lot, killing 2 men and hurting 4 others. Court records show in the last 20 years, Madison has been arrested 9 times and sentenced to serve 15 years in state prison. Council member Oliver Thomas wants police to join districts together to target crime hotspots.
This is a noted hotspot here and drug spot. Maybe we need to be using our police force to concentrate on hotspots where the bad guys congregate, where they sell the drugs, where they've had shootings.
If convicted of second-degree murder, Madison would face a mandatory lifetime prison sentence. Texans headed to the polls voting on a variety of city and school board races. Several mayoral and council positions were also on the ballot, as well as school trustee and school bond proposals. Now let's take a look at some of the top races from across East Texas. Let's start with Constitutional Amendment 1, which would lessen the school property tax burden on the elderly and people with disabilities. So far, voters are approving that proposal with 87% of the vote. Constitutional Amendment 2 would increase the school property tax homestead exemption to $40,000. Voters are also saying yes to that amendment, currently 85% of the vote in that case. Now for the rest of the results, you'll find them scrolling for you across the bottom of your screen. They're also available in our KSLA News 12 app. Now, as the end of the school year slowly approaches for kids, Keeping them occupied over the summer is key. And from a couple from Bossier has been doing that since 2015. KSLA News 12's Taylor Davis caught up with them to find out about what their camp has to offer.
We saw a need within the community to reach our, what we may call, inner city kids.
That's why Angela and Lonnie Spades launched Lead Academy Summer Camp. A camp started back in 2015, but what makes it different from others is it focuses on teaching those kids ages 5 through 18 about leadership.
It's not just about leading in a way of having followers, but being in control of your own decisions.
Each camper has a chance to speak with business leaders and entrepreneurs and attend field trips to broaden their horizons.
They visit the courtroom and they're not standing in front of the judge, but they get to visit the courtroom as a witness.
Some of them have been inspired to start their own businesses.
One young lady, Robinson, the little Robinson girl, where she is, she started baking, and then when she came to our camp, she just expanded her horizons.
The summer camp starts June 6th. Learn more about how to sign up on our KSLA News app. Taylor Davis, KSLA News 12.
Tonight, we hear from Henderson State University alumni after what they call heartbreaking and devastating news that their university is making major budget cuts. The university says these cuts are the only hope to get out of a dire financial situation.
Henderson made me who I am.
And help students like Claire Howard refine their talents.
We had such an incredible, diverse offering of arts programs for students.
So imagine the shock for this 2016 graduate to find out her beloved alma mater is cutting 37% of its staff and 12 of its programs, including history and theater arts.
Historically, across the United States, when there are budget cuts, music and arts programs are the first to go.
Henderson State University's chancellor says the decision came down to survival.
Transformational change was required.
University officials described the financial situation as dire, citing the pandemic and low graduation rates as contributing factors to a compounding debt problem.
It's certainly less disruptive than coming into the summer of 2022 and literally having to suspend operations because you don't have the money to pay your staff.
But 2016 graduate Larkin Parks looks at the funding issues a little differently.
It's just very strange now that they're just cutting it if it wasn't getting properly funded anyway. We've been using the same costumes for years.
Henderson State University was one of the last dance degree programs in Arkansas.
There are lots of dance studios in the Arklatex, but if that's what they want to do and they can't get it at a collegiate level, what are they going to do?
That uncertainty is what Howard worries about most.
It breaks my heart, not only because the state of Arkansas and the Arklatex are losing really dynamic and incredible musicians, but also biologists and English professors.
Even though certain programs are slashed, Park says she plans to take with her what she's learned. Now, the university says that it will work with students currently enrolled in those cut programs, and it's restructured into what they're calling a 4 meta themes that officials say will align with skills needed for the workforce. Now, today, of course, is Mother's Day, and we hope that you guys got to spend the day letting Mom know just how much you appreciate her. You can also show us your Mother's Day celebrations by submitting your photos to the KSLA app or on our website. You can also scan that QR code that you see and it'll take you straight to that page. But here's a look at some of the pictures that you guys have already sent in. I love it so much. Keep them coming. I know Mother's Day is almost over, but you can always celebrate Mom, right?
Plus, we weren't able to be with them today, so they'll get a delayed, but very nice response to Mother's Day in a couple of days. But we're also looking at the next few days, very hot and humid across the Arklatex. We'll dive into that right after the break.
Coming up, the Senate Majority Leader has strong words for the Supreme Court following the Roe v. Wade leak. Plus, we take a look at how Ukrainian refugees are making a new life in Ireland. That story and more. That's coming up.